So as informed before, the topic for the day is going to be prepositions. So a preposition is a word or group of words used before a noun, pronoun or noun phrase. Okay, we can have a noun or pronoun or a noun phrase before which we use a preposition. And it is going to show either a direction, it can also show time, place, location, spatial relationship. Okay, spatial it means related to some space or to introduce an object. Like if you see these sentences as an example, so we have they came here at 5 p.m. So we are denoting some time here. Okay, this is 5 p.m. we have, and we are connecting this 5 p.m. to the rest of the sentence. Okay, like he was born in 1980. So we are introducing 1980 and we are joining 1980 using the word in. Okay, to he was born. She went out of the room. So when I say she went out, so then we are connecting the room using of. Okay, so we can say a preposition is a word or group of words which is going to be used before a noun, a pronoun or noun phrase, and it is basically going to show direction, or it can show time, place, location, some relationship related to the space or spatial relationship we can call it, or to introduce an object. Now when I say prepositions, guys, there are different type of prepositions. Okay, we can study about the preposition of time, place, location. Okay, these type of prepositions we have. So the first type of preposition we are going to study about is going to be prepositions of time. Here we are going to deal with the words which are going to help us to fill in the blanks, or when you are filling up the blanks in terms of preposition. So related to time, okay, if there is any preposition which we can use, so we'll study about them here. So the first preposition is going to be at. Okay, so at is used to indicate when something happens. That is going to mean we are referring to clock times. Clock time is going to mean if I ask you what is the time as per your watch. So what will you say that this is the exact time as of my watch? What's the time by your watch, everyone?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Okay, so 4 we can say, 4 5 we can say. So that is the timing. That means we are talking about what time? Clock time. Okay, this is known as clock time. Clock time means we are talking about the exact time, or we are referring to point. Okay, when we are referring to festivals, then also we use the word at, but there should be no day with it. Like if you have Diwali day or something like that, then we don't use the word at. Okay, if you have festivals without the word day or without the word holiday, so we use the word at there. For example, the train left at 8 o'clock. So when I say 8 o'clock, so this is going to be our exact time, point of time we are referring to. Okay, she used to go to temple at Dashera and Diwali. So when I say Dashera and Diwali, so we are using the word at here again. He came here at the weekend. So when I say at the weekend, so it is going to be referring to some exact time or point of time we are referring to. Okay, towards the end of the weekend. She married at the age of 20. So when I say at the age of 20, so that means when the person was 20 years old. So we are again referring to one exact time. I called on my friend at night. So remember, if you have just night word, day word, then we use the word at. Okay. But if you have the word before them, like the night, the day, in that case, we don't use the word at. Okay. Some other word is going to be used, which we'll study about in the next slide. So here we are going to say, I called on my friend at night. Okay. So the timing which the person called the other friend was night. We rested at noon, at dawn, at dusk, at sunrise, at sunset. So whenever we have these words, guys, okay, noon we have, dawn we have, dusk we have, sunrise we have, sunset we have. Okay, so we are going to use which word? At is going to be there. Okay, because we are referring to either exact time or point of time. Any doubt here? Anyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
The next thing, guys, as I mentioned earlier, we say at night. Okay, because we are going to say throughout the day or night. Okay, but if I say in the night, so we are being specific here, and we are referring to the duration of time. When we use the word in, it is going to be for the duration of time, and when we use the word at, it is going to be for point of time or exact time. Okay, so we say at night, but we say in the night, in the daytime, and so on. Okay, but if you have something like morning, evening, yes, beta.
So could you please repeat at? So actually I got busy, disconnected.
Okay.
So
No issues, beta. So at is basically used when we are referring to exact time. Okay, point of time if you have, or clock time. As I asked earlier, what's the time as of your watch, as of now, or as per your watch? So you said that it is 4 o'clock or around 4 o'clock, 4 5. So this type of time, if you are referring to, okay, exact time, point of time, clock time. So we use the word at. Okay, if you have festivals without the word day or holiday, then again we use the word at. Okay, so specific times, if you have exact time, point of time, then we are going to use the word at. And if you are referring to one particular time, like day, or we are referring to night, or we are referring to noon, dawn, dusk, sunrise, sunset, in that case also we are supposed to use the word at. Okay, that one exception, remember, we say at night, but if you use the word the before night, in that case we are referring to duration of time. So we don't say at the night, we are going to say at night but in the night. All right.
Yes, sir.
We don't use at with morning, evening, and afternoon, guys. So there is a rule when we have morning, evening, and afternoon. Okay, so we are supposed to use in here. The reason is because when I said the morning, the evening, the afternoon, so we are talking about some duration of time. Like if I say morning, so the morning is there. We can say the time we wake up or the sun rises from there till 12 o'clock. Okay, afternoon is supposed to be between 12 o'clock to 4 p.m. and evening is going to be 4 p.m. onward till you go to bed. So that is supposed to be the evening. So here when
Sir, you're not audible.
so which word are we supposed to use?
Sir, you got disconnected for a
Am I
minute.
audible to you all? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. Now
I
you
see.
are
Yes,
audible.
Am I audible now?
yes, sir.
All right. Going back, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, beta.
Yes, sir.
So when you, I was asking you a question earlier, the question was if you refer to the duration of time, so which word are we going to use? If you have to choose between at or in, which one we are going to go for?
Sir, in.
Sir, in.
In, sir.
In is going to be. Very good. Okay, so whenever we have duration of time, we are going to go for the word in. So that's the reason, guys, whenever we have the morning, the evening, the afternoon. So which word are we going to go for?
Sir, in.
In is going to be there. Okay, we are going to go for in because we are referring to duration of time here. Okay, just give me a moment, then we'll continue with the class. Am I audible, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So
Yes,
going
sir.
back, guys, when you refer to the duration of time, okay, so we are not supposed to use the word at, rather it's going to become the word in. Okay, if you refer to exact time, point of time, in that case, go for the word at. But if you refer to the duration, then go for the word in. So in is basically used for duration of, or we can say period of time in which something happens. So we use in with these words, especially if you are referring to centuries, years, season, month, and period of the day. Okay, period of the day is going to mean we are referring to duration of time. Okay, like the morning we say, the evening we say, and the afternoon we say. Like English literature flourished in the 16th century. So we are referring to this was the period of time, okay, duration of time when this thing happened. She was born in 1990, so we are referring to one specific year. They visited this place in summer, so we are referring to duration of time again. He called on me in the evening. Again, we are referring to duration of time. The theft took place in the daytime, so we are referring to not the day. We are not saying day only. We are saying the daytime. Okay, or simply the day. So we are going to use preposition N. My father went to USA in October. Okay, so we are referring to duration of time. In it all happened in 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 years. So whenever we have these words, minutes, hours, days, years, and so on, and we are referring to duration of period of time, then we are going to go for the word in. Okay. Now we have next word that is going to be on, and on, as we know, it is going to be for particular days, particular date, particular or birthday, we can say anniversaries, okay, because they happen on a particular day. So we use the word on here. So if you have particular specific days in a mind, guys, okay, then we are going to go for the word on. Like we went to a movie on Tuesday. He was born on October 3rd, 1980. We congratulated him on his birthday and we gave them a gift on their 20th wedding anniversary. Okay, so in all these cases, one thing is there, and that is going to be a specific day or particular day. Like that Tuesday is given, so particular day we are referring to October 3rd, 1980. So it's going to be again particular day. But if you just have October here, so can we use on October? Will you say on October or in October? If you just have October word.
Sir, in
In
October.
October.
In October.
Okay, that is going to be there. So that is correct. Okay, but if I say on his birthday, so there will be one particular day. So again, we are going to use the word on. Okay, now very important thing, guys, the notes, whatever, wherever you see the word note, okay, just make sure that you understand them clearly, because these are the exceptions. And in exam, mostly the examiner is going to put the except. So although if you say morning, evening, afternoon, so we are talking about the duration of time. Am I right? If I say the evening, the afternoon, the morning, so we are referring to what time? Duration or exact time?
Sir, duration.
Duration.
Okay,
The
but if you
duration.
use a few words before them, that is going to be an adjective, okay, to describe what type of morning, what type of afternoon, or what type of evening you had or person had. So in that case, guys, before these words, we are supposed to use on. So pay attention. So if you use an adjective before afternoon, evening, morning, day, or night, okay, you are modifying the afternoon, evening, morning, day, and night. That in that case, guys, we don't use the word in, rather it is going to become on. Like they reached here on a hot afternoon. So we are using afternoon, and before afternoon, what we have used? Which word is
Sir,
given?
hot.
Hot is given. So when I say hot afternoon, so we are modifying the word afternoon. So just because of this modification, guys, we are not going to use in a hot afternoon. Rather, it's going to be on a hot afternoon. People did not come out of their house on a night like this. So we are describing a night, and we have mentioned similar to today's night. We went for fishing on a pleasant morning. So again, we have used a word that is going to be pleasant, and we are using it before morning. So that means whenever you are some description to afternoon, evening, morning, day, and night, in that case, don't go for the word in, go for the word on. I hope this thing is clear, everyone. Doubt here?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir.
Now we are going to focus over preparation of time.
Oh.
Okay, this way we can understand about time, or we can do the quick recap of what we have understood. Okay, so don't focus over this part. Okay, on your right, whatever you have on the right, don't focus there, just focus over this part on the left. Okay, so see, guys, so when I refer to the general timing, okay, we have some bigger timing in our mind. We are referring to like centuries, decades, we are referring to year, month, week, season, period of time we have. Holidays we are referring to, or part of the day we are referring to. In all these cases, we are referring to some duration of time. Okay, then we use the word in. Like in the 1900s, in the 90s we say, in 1990, in 2000, in March, in June, in 5 weeks, in spring we can say, in summer, in winter, in the future we can say, in the Easter holiday, and in the morning. Because in all these cases, we are trying to tell about the duration of time. But if you use more specific time, okay, more specific days you are referring to, in that case we are going to use the word on. Like if you have holidays with the word day with them, like on Easter day, okay, on Monday we can say, on April 3rd, on my birthday, on the weekend we can say, on Sunday morning. So we are referring to more specific time, so we can use the word on. Now if you are referring to very specific time, okay, you have some exact time in your mind, in that case we use the word at, like at 8 a.m., at 8 p.m., at midnight, at the moment, at Easter. Okay, when we have holidays mentioned without using the word day, then we generally go for the word at. Now there is a key rule, guys, to remember with festivals whether to go for at or go for the word on. So for festivals that are fixed on dates, okay, like there are some festivals which are always going to happen on one particular day, right? So which word are we going to use? Which word will be used?
At.
At will be there. Okay, if there's some festival is going to happen on exactly the same day every year, then we use the word at. Example, at Christmas. So Christmas takes place when? If I ask you.
25 December.
25th
25th
December.
December. Okay, but if I refer to
December.
Eid, if I refer to Diwali, if I refer to Holi, so they are not fixed. Okay, they every year they are different month, different day, and the festivals take place accordingly. So, but the festivals which do not have the fixed dates, guys, so we add the word on. Okay, like on Diwali or on the eve of Diwali and so on. Okay, so that's the key word, the key rule you can remember if you are confused whether to go for add or go for the word on. Okay, everyone. But if you refer to the duration of the day, throughout the day, if you want to say, then in that case, you can use the word in. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
Now, in short, guys, if you refer to the prepositions, so we have prepositions, specific time, we are going to use at, in month, year, long period we have, in that case, we use the word in. For on, we can use when we have day and dates, specific dates, like at 5 o'clock, at 12:30, sunset, at the moment, at sunrise, at bedtime, at noon, at dinner time. Okay, in is going to be for duration of time, in the past, in the future, in the 1980, in the 1970s, in the next century, in April, in the ice age, we can say in the winter, in summer. And on is going to be for specific days. If you have days in your mind and specific dates are there, go for the word on. Like on Saturday, on Tuesdays, on 9th May, on 12 April 2012, on my birthday, on New Year's Eve, on Independence Day, on Christmas Day. So again, we are referring to specific days. So we can use the word on. Okay, now if you refer to the another word, that is going to be during, guys. So during is going to be for whole period of time. Okay, if you say something was continuously taking place throughout the time, in that case we can use the word during. Okay, during may be used instead of in. So either we can go for the word in or we can use the word during. Now during is for period of day, month, season or year, decades and centuries. Okay, same as of in. But during is going to show that something was continuously happening inside these days. Okay, like during the war, many people were killed. So that is going to mean every day when the war was on, many people were killed. We work during the day and sleep during the night. That means during the daytime, we continuously work. During the night we are going to continuously sleep. We try to contact people during October. That means every day, okay, we try to contact people. So we are showing the continuity in this. That's why we would prefer the word during. But in is also right. If you say we try to contact people in October, so that is also fine. Okay, but during is going to show that we continuously try to contact people. Every day we try to contact people. During the 90s, many taxes were imposed. She used to ring up many times during the week, and during the journey, I came to respect her. That means in all these cases, we are trying to show some continuity of the activities. All right, so we can use the word during here. Now, next word is going to be by, guys. Very important word. Multiple uses are there of by. Okay, so as per time, when you want to say by this time, so that is going to mean not later than. Okay, so whenever we have this thing in the mind or the phrase in the mind, that is going to be not later than. In that case, we use the word by. So by is used to indicate the latest time at which the action finished. Okay, we are saying that this is the time. After that, nothing will be taken from the person. In that case, we can use the word by. Like he will finish this work by 5 o'clock. So when I say he will finish this work by 5 o'clock, so 5 o'clock is the last timing. After that, he is not allowed to finish the work. Or we can say not later than 5 o'clock. By that time, the moon was up. So we are referring to some time, and exactly at that time, the moon was up. After that, not. You must come to me by 8 a.m., but not after 8 a.m. Applications must be received by 10th May. So when I say by 10th May, that is going to mean that is the last day to receive the application. If somebody sends the application on 11th May, so it's not going to be accepted. Okay, beta. Any doubt here?
No, sir.
Okay. Now next word is going to be for and since. So since and for we have done already when we are dealing with perfect and perfect continuous tense. But let's understand about since and for one more time. So for is basically used when we are referring to perfect and perfect continuous tense. Okay. Uh, for is a word, guys, we actually use in all the tenses. We can use in all the tenses when you want to denote the period of time. Okay, but generally we use it with perfect and perfect continuous tense. So for is used for period of time to indicate how long an action lasts. It is generally used with the perfect tense, but it is also used with other tenses. Okay, so remember, generally it is used with perfect tense, but it can be used with other tenses also. Okay, we can use it in simple past and other like present continuous, past continuous. There also we use the word for when you want to denote duration of time. Like they have lived here for 5 years. Okay, trained continuously for 12 hours. We stayed there for 15 days. They have been working for 2 hours. She will not be here for another 3 hours. So whenever we have duration of time, period of time in our mind, we use the word for. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we have the word since, but since is the word, guys, we only use with perfect and perfect continuous tense. Okay, we don't go for if you have since and for in the sentence. In that case, we only are supposed to use either perfect tense or perfect continuous tense. We cannot use any other tense if you have since and for. Sorry, since word in the sentence. Since is used with a point of time, particular time in the past from which some action began and it continues till the time of speaking. It is generally used with the perfect tense. Okay, perfect or perfect continuous. Like he has lived here since 1980. Okay, so when I say 1980 is going to be one point of time, particular time. So we are going to use the word since. Everything has changed since the last summer. So we are referring to the last summer till today. It has not rained since the end of June. So end of June till today. He had been writing novels since he was 30-year-old, since 30 and till today. I know him since he was born. So when I say since he was born, since he was 30-year-old, since the end of June, since the last summer, since 1980, in all these cases, one thing is surely there, and that is going to be point of time or particular time. So whenever we have point of time or particular time, we go for the word since. And when we have duration of time, period of time, and if you have to use since or for, so always go for the word for. More example we can see. So for is a for period of time. Okay, like we have the starting time, end time. It may or may not be there, but we are referring to duration of time. Okay, we are not referring to the exact time when things started. On the other hand, since is going to be for a point of time at which something started and it is continuously happening till now. Like for 20 minutes, so we cannot determine which 20 minutes we are referring to, of today's, yesterday's, or the first century. For 3 days, so again same case, we are referring to duration of time, but we don't know exactly of which day. For 6 months, okay, we don't know which month or which year. For 4 years, again same case, we don't know which 4 years, okay, which century we are referring to. For 2 centuries, for a long time, forever. So in all these cases, we are referring to duration of time. So we are supposed to use the word for. On the other hand, since is going to be for one exact time when things started. If I say since 9 a.m., so I'm using since here, not for, because 9 a.m. is sure. Okay, since 9 a.m. till now. Since Monday, so since Monday till today. Since January, that means January things started until today it is continuously happening. Since 1997, since 1500, since I left school. So when I say since I left school, so there will be a particular day when the person left the school. So we are not going to use for I left school. So it's going to be since I left school. Since the beginning of time. So it is going to mean when the thing started from that particular time till today. Okay, so in all these we are supposed to use the word since. Now for is for all tenses. We can use with all the type of tenses. But if I refer to since word, guys, since is basically used with perfect or perfect continuous only. More examples are here. For is period of time, some number will be there in time word, like for 5 minutes, for 2 days, for 6 months, for 10 years, for a decade, for a century, for a long time. And since is going to be for starting point and time or date will be mentioned, like since 6 a.m., since Monday, since March, since April 3rd, since 2019, since I was a child, and since childhood. Okay, now the next word is going to be related to time, preposition, that's going to be from. So from indicates the starting point of an action in the past or future. Okay, the time when things started, we are going to use the word from there. Okay, so from indicates the starting point of an action in the past or future. And if you refer to which word we can use with from, so generally we use the word to, but it's not that we only have to use to. Okay, we can use to, or we can also go for the word till. Okay, either to or till. These are the two words which we are supposed to use there. Like they lived here from 1980 till or to 1990. So we are referring to starting time was 1980, end time was 1990. We worked from morning to or till evening. She lived with them from the age of 20. So we are referring to starting time was when she was 20-year-old. He lives in his office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. She is interested in the period from 1950 to 1960. So in all these cases, we are referring to starting time. So we are using from, and if you are referring to time, so we are using the till, or we can use the word to. Now from till, there is another word which comes in our mind, that is going to be until. So those who don't know the difference between them, so there is a slight difference between uses of till and until, and that is going to be if you have specific time, guys, or we have a particular time, and if you are mentioning till or until in the sentence, so use till for specific time, particular time, and use until for unspecific time. Okay, if you are not sure about the timing, then we can go for the word until. Like we have a sentence, let's not work dash he returns. So what should be there? Till he returns or until he returns?
Until he returns.
Very good. Okay, so until he returns is going to be correct because we don't know when the person is going to return, right? But if I say she will return dash Monday, so what should be there now?
Certain.
Certain.
Till is going to be there. Okay, Monday is a
Till
particular
Monday.
day. Okay, so that's how we're going to use till or until. Like let's not work until he returns, she will return till Monday. I was employed by the company till 1980. You will have to wait until my return. Or he is expected to be here till the end of the week. So this is how we use the word till or until. Now two more words, very easy to understand, before and after related to time. Before means earlier than, and after means later than something. Like I get up before 6, that means not later than 6 o'clock, or before earlier than 6 o'clock. She returned before Monday. When I say she returned before Monday, that is going to mean earlier than Monday. They came here after 8 o'clock, that means later than 8 o'clock. We went to Paris 4 years after our marriage. So that is going to mean once 4 years had completed after that. Okay, so that's how we use before and after when you are referring to the time. Okay, everyone?
Yes,
Any
sir.
doubt to anyone in terms of these prepositions of time? No doubt? So let's begin with the next preposition, that is going to be the preposition of place. Okay, now we have preposition of place. That means we are going to use some of the words before some places. Okay, like if you refer to home, if you refer to house, if you refer to some building, so we use certain words with them. Okay, so if you have again, we are going to use at, in, and on here. Okay, first three words are going to be at, in, and on. More words are there which we'll understand later. So at is basically used when we are referring to exact point. Okay, like in timing, if I refer to, so exact timing or point of time, we use the word at. Similarly, guys, if you have exact point, if you are referring to house, if you're referring to some station, very important, stations always take the word at. If you're referring to airport, you are referring to house number and specific street, lane, or road. Proper address is there. In that case, we can use the word at. Apart from that, if you're referring to small villages and small towns, okay, then also we use the word at. For example, they lived at Gohana, a small town in Haryana. So we are saying in Haryana because Haryana is going to be a bigger town. Okay, bigger. We are already referring to a state which is going to contain a lot of cities and a lot of villages will be there. But if I refer to Gohana, Gohana comparatively is going to be a small village, or a small town, I can say. So we can use the word at here. They lived at Gohana, a small town in Haryana. He was born at his village Shilmar. So we are referring to at here, although we can also use in. If you use in, it is going to make we are referring to inside the village Shilmar. Okay, but if I use the word at, so I'm referring to the exact point, okay, where he lived. Or we are referring to the village is comparatively very small. The Prime Minister lives at 10 Downing Street. So when I say 10 Downing Street, we are referring to what we have a specific street here. Okay, name of the street is given and a road is given and we have specific street. So we are going to use the word at. She works at the town hall. So when I say at the town hall, so we are referring to one particular building where the person works. The plane landed at London Airport. So when I say airport, we have railway station, we always use the word at because we are referring to exact point where the things are situated. Okay, for example, if I refer to Dehradun, so how many railway stations we have in Dehradun? Everyone. How many railway stations are there? Only one is there, right? If you refer to Rishikesh, there is only one. If you refer to Haridwar, there is only one. So when you refer to these places, guys, okay, they are specific railway stations, a specific airport. So we always use the word at because we know where they are situated. Okay, but if you refer to something which is bigger in size like large cities you are referring to, we are referring to countries, we are referring to state, we are referring to continents. In that case, we don't use the word at, rather we are going to use the word in. Like many people in India live in villages. So here we are using in India because India is very big, and in villages because we are referring to not one particular village, we are referring to all the villages. They used to live in Bangalore. So Bangalore is comparatively not a small city. We are referring to a large city. So we are going to use in. The Indians live in India and they lived in Europe for 10 years. So in Europe is going to be there because Europe is going to be a continent already. Okay, so when you refer to large cities, countries, state, continents, go for the word in. If you're referring to exact point, if you have a house here, station, airport, house number in specific street, lane or road number is given to you, or we are referring to an address, a proper address, go for the word at. Now on is there. On means two things. It is going to be on top of the surface of something, okay, on top of the surface of something, or it can also mean particular area of land or place. So whenever we have a particular area of land or place, or we are referring to on top of the surface, in that case we use the word on. Like he spent a few days on an island, so that means on top of the surface of an island. He worked on a farm for some time, that means on top of the surface of the farm. They built their house on a beautiful piece of land. So again we are referring to on a particular area, we can say on a land, we can say on top of the surface of this land we are talking about. Now on is also used like if you have these sentences, examples, we can say more example. So there is a school on the outskirts of the city, and we can say the hotel stands on the bank of a river. That means on top of the surface but near the bank of a river. Now once again we have the same thing. If you refer to general or bigger areas, guys, okay, in that case we use the word in. Okay, now this time we have to focus on the right. In is used like in countries, cities, neighborhood, enclosed spaces. We are going to use the word in. Like he lives in France, in Paris, in Manhattan, or he was in a car. When I say in a car, it is going to mean we are talking about the enclosed space. That means it is covered from top and from right and left and all the sides. Okay, so we can use in a car. On is going to be there when you refer to some street. Okay, like he lives on Columbus Street. But if you use the word like 10 Columbus Street, so can I use on here, or I'll be using at? If I say 10 Columbus Street. Yes, everyone. At will be there.
At.
Okay, if you have 10 Columbus Street, so it's going to take at. But if you say on Columbus Street, so it's going to mean on top of the surface of the street we are talking about. Okay, somewhere on this Columbus Street. Okay, on 7th Avenue, we can say on the first floor, we can say on the bus. We can say when I say on a bus, guys, it is going to mean we're referring to inside the bus, but inside the bus on top of the surface of the bus. On the radio, we can say. Okay, that means if you refer to the communication, how we were communicated, in that case we use the word on. On the radio, we can say. Where did you hear the news? So I can say on the radio. Now at is going to be for very specific areas, okay, or smallest area if you have, like 56 State Street. So if I say State Street only, so I can use on State Street. Okay, his house is on State Street. But if I say 456 State Street, so I'm already referring to a particular address. So I'm going to use the word at here. At the station, we can say station. If I refer to airport, if I refer to, so there's at specific places only. Okay, so we use the word at there. We can see more example, more words. It will help you to understand when to use at, in, and on. So at is basically for a point. Okay, if you refer to at a particular point, then you use the word at. Like at the door, at the crossroad, at the traffic light. Okay, if you have the word like top, bottom, end of, then also we use the word at. Like at the top of the stairs, at the bottom of the page, at the end of the street. Okay, so we are referring to one particular place where you can find things. If you have group activities, like you found someone at a party, at a concert, at the cinema, so we use the word at. If you are referring to school and university, guys, so they are again going to be at one particular place, right? So we use the word at here, like at school, at university, and so on. If you refer to home and work, so home and work are also at some particular space, particular area. So we can use at home. Where is your brother? So we can say at home or at work. Shops, if you refer to, then also we use the word at because they are also at particular places. At the bakery, at a cafe, at the chemist. So we can use the word at. Okay, in all the cases, we are using at when we are referring to particular area, particular place. And in is going to be multiple uses are there. In first use is going to be when we have a 3D space. I think I hope you all understand 3D space. That is going to mean enclosed space. Okay, when something is closed and you are inside there. Okay, then we use in, like in the bag, in the classroom, in a box. So we are talking about enclosed space. Okay, space which is closed from all the sides. Territory, if you refer to like in London, in Europe, in the Alps, in the world, so we're referring to the bigger areas. So we can use the word in. In a car, in a van, so we are referring to inside the car, inside a van. We can say in the sea, in a river, in a lake, in the swimming pool. So when you say in words, that is going to mean inside the sea, inside a river, inside a lake, and so on. Now, if you find something inside a book, inside a picture, inside a newspaper, so we use the word in, like in a book, in a picture, in the newspaper, and so on. Now, most important word is going to be on, guys. Most of the time, we have to use on, but since we don't know whether to go for on or in, we go for the word in. So if you have a surface, you are referring to some floor, you are referring to some right or left, or public transportation. Public transportation can take in or on, okay, as per the meaning of the sentence. But if you refer to surface, floor, right and left, and if you refer to the media, guys, in all these cases, we are supposed to use the word on. Like on the table, on the carpet, on the roof, on the sofa. It's going to mean on top of the table, on top of the carpet, on top of the roof, on top of the sofa. If you refer to floor, if you get the word floor in this sentence, so we use the word on, like on the first floor. His house is on the first floor, on the fifth floor, and so on. Or he lives on the first floor and second floor. On the right, we can say, on the left, we can say. On public transportation, we say, if you're referring to inside certain place, but on top of the surface of something, like on the bus, on the train, on a plane. Okay, you can say in a plane also, when you just mentioned that he's inside the plane. But if you say on the top of the surface of the plane, in that case, you can use on a plane. Inside only, but on the top of the surface of the plane. For media, guys, we use the word on only. Like on the radio, where did you hear the news? So on the radio. Where on television, whereas on the internet, on a website. All right, everyone. Any doubt here?
Sir.
Yes, no, sir.
No,
Let's
sir.
go to the next thing. That's going to be preposition of direction. Okay, if you are referring to a particular direction, guys, so we use certain prepositions. First preposition here is going to be from. So from earlier we studied about timing. Remember when you have starting time, so which word we are supposed to use if you are referring to starting time?
So from.
From is there. Okay, end time is going to be used for end to denote end time. Which two words we can use?
So from or till.
Okay, to or till to denote end time. Okay, similarly, guys, here also when I talk about the word when you are referring to direction. Okay, so we use from to indicate the starting point or point of departure, from where the thing started. Okay, or we can say the point of origin. To denote that, we are going to use the word from. Like they came from China, so we know, okay, starting point was China. We started from Chennai, so we know, okay, the starting point was Chennai. The train from Kolkata has arrived, so we know, okay, Kolkata was the starting point. She comes home from office at 6 p.m. So when I say from office, so we are referring to starting point is going to be office. He fell from the 5th floor of the hotel. So we are referring to starting point was the 5th floor of the hotel. Okay, now we have the word off. So let's understand this also, because students are often confused whether to go for off or we have to use off. So off is going to mean when we have some surface, on top of the surface we are, or the person is, or the thing is on top of the surface, and it comes down from that surface. Okay, so off means to go away from something, to come down from something. Okay, so to come down from one thing, to stay away from something, to remove something from one place, or to take something away. In all these cases, guys, we can use the word off. For example, he took the hat off the table. That means it was on top of the table. Okay, then he took the hat away from the table. The boy fell off the tree or roof. Okay, he was on this tree and roof. And then what happened? He fell away from the tree or roof, or down from the tree or roof. The ball rolled off the floor. So when I say the ball rolled off the floor, that is going to mean away from the floor. Okay, keep off the grass. This sentence comes in exam, so mark it important. Like keep dash the grass. So we don't say keep away the grass. Okay, because if you use keep away the grass, the meaning will change. But if you say keep off the grass, so we are trying to say stay away from the grass. Take this packet off the shelf. That means remove this packet from the shelf, or take this packet down from the shelf. So off is going to mean to come down, stay away, to remove, to take something away. So in all these cases, we can use the word off. We can see one example, like there is a frog on top of the box. So if you want to say the frog jumped off the box, that is going to mean he jumped down from the box or away from the box. All right, beta?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we have the next word, that is going to be out of. Out of is going to mean when we are referring to interior of something. Okay, when we are inside something, from interior to outside, then we use the word out of. Like he went out of the room. He was inside the room, then he came out of the room. Okay, interior to outside. The bird flew out of the cage. She jumped out of the shelf. I saw him coming out of the library. So out of is very easy word. Okay, out of means interior to outside. Now if you are referring to direction, but you are referring to the end direction, or you are referring to direction towards one place, then we use some of the words. First word is going to be for, guys. Okay, to indicate the initial point or the origin, we use the word from. Okay, but if you are referring to the end point, okay, so we use certain words like for is there. So for is used to show direction only when the verb indicates the beginning of a movement. Okay, if there is a verb given, and if you have to use it. So we don't use the word to there, rather we go for the word for. Like she left for Japan early in the morning. Okay, so the destination is where? What's the destination? Japan is the destination. Okay, we are already using the word or verb here, left. So that's why we are not going to say she left to Japan. Okay, we are going to say she left for Japan, because we have a verb, and after verb we don't use the word to, rather we use the word for. We set off for New York. So when we have set off is going to be a verb here. So after verb, we don't use the word to, rather we use the word for. Like we set off for New York. And set off is going to mean to begin a journey. They left for home late at night. So when I say left here, so left is going to be a verb. And I told you earlier, after left, if you have two choices, for and to. So don't go for the word to, go for the word for. They left for home late at night. Okay, so when you are referring to end point and beginning of a journey, you are referring to, or and you have a verb, and you have to choose between for and to, guys. So always go for the word for, because after a verb we have to use for, not a word to. Next word is going to be against. Against is going to be a preposition which is going to mean there are two things which are in contact, or more than two things which are in contact, or there is some kind of pressure against each other. Okay, then we use the word against. Like the child threw the ball against the wall. So we can imagine there is a ball and there is the wall. Okay, so the ball was in contact with the wall. The crowd pressed against the door. So again, there was some kind of contact between these two things, the crowd and the door. He put the ladder against the wall. So again, it was against the wall. That means it was in contact the wall. She stood with her back against the well. He hit his head against the branch. So we are talking about some contact or pressure, and we have two things in contact. Okay, now the next thing is going to be to, guys. So to is used when from is going to be for initial point. Okay, origin if you refer to, then we use the word from if you are denoting someone coming from where and going to. So when you want to talk about the end direction, okay, then we use the word to. So from is for origin and to is going to be for the destination. Like he went from Delhi to Ambala. So when I say from here, so from is going to mean starting point, to is going to mean the end point. She came to India as a tourist. The train started from Kolkata and came to Delhi. He was on his way to the station and we went from London to New York. So we are using to here to denote destination and from to denote origin. Now again, very important word, that's going to be towards. So towards is basically used when we have, suppose you're outside the railway station, okay, and you want to go to some specific platform. So if you go in one direction, okay, if you're going in one direction, in that case we use the word towards. The towards is used to indicate the direction of something, and whenever you have this phrase in your mind, that is going to be in one direction. So we can use the word towards. Or we can say there is hardly any gap between the person and the place. Then we use the word towards. Suppose somebody calls you and you are near the airport. Okay, you are at the taxi stand, and then you're going in the straight way to the airport. So we can say to the airport when there is a huge gap between two things. But if you want to say that there is hardly any gap between you and the airport, you are at the taxi stand and in front of you there is the airport. So you can say I'm going towards the airport, or you can say I went towards the airport, or we can say they went towards the airport. So towards is going to mean in one direction. He was speeding towards the town. The train was coming towards the station. I saw him hurrying towards me. He stood back towards me. He marked towards the river, or he ran towards the door. So when we have towards, guys, it's going to mean in one direction. There are two things and there is hardly any gap between these two things. In that case, we are supposed to use the word towards. Any doubt here, beta? Anyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay,
No,
now
sir.
we have preposition or position, guys. Okay, very important, often comes in the exam, and we are often confused whether to go for under, below, or underneath or beneath. So some important prepositions are coming up. Kindly pay attention. So first one is going to be the word under. Okay, when you say something is covered, okay, one thing covered, maybe completely or partially, but it is covered. In that case, we use the word under. Okay, under is used to indicate a position that is below or beneath something. It means vertically below. Suppose there is a tree and you are standing under the tree. Okay, so when I say under, that is going to mean on top there is the tree and at the bottom you are standing. So when I say the dog was under the table, so when I say under the table, so on top there was a table, at the bottom there was a dog, and the table was covering the dog. Okay, when something is covered, guys, then only we use the word under. If you want to talk about the position, then we use a different word. He looked under the bed. So that means on top there was the bed, and at the bottom he was there with his head. They took shelter under the trees. So trees were on top and the people were standing under the tree. The water flows under the bridge. So on top there is the bridge and at the bottom there is the water. The coin rolled under the table. So there is on top there is a table and the bottom there is a coin. Yes, beta? Doubt?
So, sir, is there a space between the thing and the surface of the object?
Was that man?
Yes, sir.
I didn't get the question, beta. Can you repeat the question?
So, like when we use under, so sir, the object is used to be with the subject is used to be in contact with some object or not?
Okay, contact is not necessary. Okay, they could be contact and they could not be contact. Okay, under is not that we can say there is some gap. Okay, they could be contact and they could not be contact. In any case, we can use under. Okay, but if you wanna show that there are two things and they are in contact, completely in contact, or one thing is covered completely by the another thing, in that case, guys, we use the word underneath. Okay, we'll go to underneath in a while. Let's understand about under once more. So under is used when we have one thing which is covered, okay, completely or slightly by the another thing. One more time we use under, that is going to be when things are in contact. Okay, then also we use the word under. But if you want to say that something is completely covered by another thing, then we use the word underneath. So underneath has the same meaning as under. It means a position below something. Underneath generally implies covered by something so that the object cover is not seen at all. Okay, for example, when people go out of the home, sometimes what they do, they place the keys Okay, underneath the mat. So we are not using under the mat here. We are saying underneath the mat. So that is going to mean the keys. Okay, they are completely covered by the mat. If you use under the mat, so we are talking about on top there is the mat, at the bottom there are the keys. But if you say underneath the mat, so we are trying to say the keys are completely covered by the mat. Okay, everyone.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay, sir.
underneath is used when we refer to that something is completely covered, that it cannot be seen until you take the first thing away, then only the other thing is going to be seen. So we use the word underneath. Like she found a lot of dust underneath the carpet. Okay, even people, they can find a lot of dust underneath the carpet. Okay, so when you remove the carpet, then only you will be able to find the dust. That means the dust is completely covered by the carpet. So when you say that one thing is completely covered by the another thing, and things are in contact here, okay, completely they are in contact, so we use the word underneath. Like he hid the gun underneath the bed. So we are saying there is a gun, on top there is the bed, and the gun is completely covered by the bed. He left the key underneath the mat. So again, we can see there is a mat and the keys are completely covered by the mat, and things are in complete contact, guys. Okay, so we use the word underneath. Like we can, this is just a picture here. So we can imagine this is the mat. Okay, and this one is the key here. So if you say these are the keys and this one is the mat, so we can say there is one thing which is completely covering the another thing. Okay, so the keys are covered completely by the mat. So here, if you want to talk about this situation, so we can use the word underneath. Like the keys are underneath the mat. Okay, everyone. And if you say under the mat, so
Yes,
that
sir.
is going to mean they are in contact. Okay, but you are not literally saying that they are completely covered. You're just saying, okay, at the bottom, on top there is the mat, at the bottom there is going to be the keys. So that is the meaning. Again, there will be some kind of contact there. Okay, beta.
Okay.
Okay, now let's go to the next word, that is going to be below. So we are often confused whether to go for below, beneath, or under or underneath. So remember, guys, when you're referring to one thing is covered by another thing, in that case we use under or underneath. Under, when it is covered maybe slightly or completely. Okay, but we are referring to one thing is on top and then there's the other thing. Okay, but if you want to say that something is completely covered, that it cannot be seen until and unless you remove the first thing, then we use the word underneath. On the other hand, below and beneath is going to be there, which is going to show the position of two things. One thing is at higher position, one thing at the lower position. So when you refer to the positions of two things, in that case we use the word below and beneath. Okay, so below means in a position lower than something, and beneath is also going to mean the same thing, but there's a slight difference. We'll study about that later. So for example, if you want to talk about Dehradun and Mussoorie, everyone have been to Mussoorie? Have you been to Mussoorie already?
Yes,
Everyone?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you go to Mussoorie, okay, and you look down from there. So when you talk about these two situations, so you're not saying that you're covering Dehradun from there. Are we saying so? That you're covering Dehradun from there?
No, sir.
No.
No,
Okay, we are
sir.
talking about we are at higher position, higher altitude, and Dehradun is going to be at lower altitude. Okay, so when you talk about these things, guys, so we can use the word below and beneath here. Like they could see the village below them, or I could see Dehradun below me. So below me is going to mean you are at higher altitude, higher place, higher position, and something is at lower position. Now I cannot say I could see the village under me. Under me will mean that you are literally covering the whole village. So that is not possible until unless you really talk about the myth, okay, or you talk about the epics. Okay, so they could see the village below them, we can say so. The lake is 500 feet below the sea level. Okay, so we are talking one thing is on top and something else at the bottom. He had a wound below the left shoulder. So one thing at top and one thing at the bottom. You should write below this line. So on top there is a line drawn, and at the bottom we are asking the person to write down. All right. Now we have beneath, guys, it is similar to underneath. Okay, but the meaning is going to be different because underneath means we are talking about the coverage, that one thing is covering another thing completely. And beneath is going to mean we have one thing on top and another thing at the bottom. When you talk about the position, guys, in that case we use the word beneath or below. Okay, beneath is going to mean that one thing is covering another thing completely, or slightly. Okay, but it is going to mean we are talking about the position of two things. Like they found the body beneath a pile of grass. So on top there were a pile of grass, and at the bottom there was the body. Okay, the dead body we are talking about. So here we are talking about on top there was a pile of grass, and the bottom there was the body. Yes, beta.
Sir, could you please repeat the difference between below and beneath, sir?
Below is going to mean, beta, when you talk about that we are at higher altitude and something else is at lower position or lower altitude. Okay, then we use the word below. Like you are in Mussoorie and then you are looking at Dehradun, so you can say, I could see Dehradun below me. Okay, that is going to mean you are at higher altitude and Dehradun is at lower altitude. But if you use the word beneath, beneath is going to mean these are the two things and they are on top of each other. Okay, two things covering each other and they're on top of each other. For example, there is two of the boxes. Okay, one box here and second box on top. Now there are two of the boxes here. Okay, and you want to say that box A is on top of box B. So you can say box B is beneath box A. Okay, here we are talking about the position of the boxes. That box A is on top, box B is going to be on at the bottom. Okay, beta. So when you talk about the position, then we use the word beneath. But if you say one thing is completely covering the another thing, then which word are we going to use? Beneath or underneath?
Underneath.
Underneath.
Then we are going to go for underneath. Okay, like the boat sank beneath the waves. So that means on top waves were there, at bottom there was the boat. Like they found the body beneath a pile of grass, or on top there was the pile of grass, at the bottom there was the dead body. Okay, like the beneath has a sense of directly under something. Okay, like there is box A, box B. If you want to talk about the position of them, then use the word beneath. But if you say one thing is covering completely another thing, then use the word underneath. Any doubt here?
No, sir.
So under and below, guys. So under is going to be when one object is covered by another. Okay, one thing is covering the another thing, then we use the word under. Below is going to be when one object is in a lower position than the other. Then we use the word below. Like the ball is under the box. Okay, so we are talking about they may be in contact or may not be in contact, but one thing is covering the another. When I say the ball is below the box, so that means we are referring to the position of two things. Box is on top, at the bottom there is the ball. Okay, beta?
Okay, sir.
All right. Can we complete this topic? It's just going to take 2 or 3 more minutes. Can we complete them? Like beneath, underneath, these words.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
sir.
All right. So here we have beneath, guys. Beneath is going to be more formal. Okay. In formal language, you find the word beneath. Underneath, you will find in songs only. Okay. When we speak to each other, then we use underneath sometime. But underneath is not literally a literary term. Okay. So we hardly use underneath. But if you are speaking, then you can use the word underneath. In exam, if you find underneath, you can also use underneath if you're saying that one thing is completely covered by the another. Okay, beneath means directly under or in or to a lower position, and underneath is going to mean directly below or to be concealed by something. Concealed means completely covered by something. Then we use the word underneath. Now there is one more meaning of beneath, guys, that is going to be lower in rank or position. Okay, and if you talk about the beneath, the word underneath, so there is no such meaning of underneath. Okay, if you want to say that he is beneath me, that is going to also mean that he is in lower rank than you. Okay, underneath is going to mean something when used being covered or hidden by another thing. For example, this jacket is too small for me to wear a jumper underneath. Okay, so the person is saying there is a jacket but it's very small. That's the reason it cannot cover the jumper you're wearing underneath. That means it cannot cover the jumper completely. He always seems so cold, but I know he's soft-hearted underneath. So here the person is trying to say underneath, inside the thing which you cannot see. Okay, there he's soft-hearted, but outside he's really cold. Cold is going to mean rude, we can say. From outside he's cold, we can say he's rude, but inside, okay, underneath we can say he's soft-hearted. So in this sense also we use the word underneath, guys. Okay, more use of beneath, that's going to be in or to a lower position or under something, then we can use the word beneath. Like when I arrived, my daughter was sleeping like a log beneath her blanket. So we are referring to one thing was on top, at the bottom there was the daughter. Okay, she was sleeping straight and on top there was the blanket. At the bottom there was the daughter. My cat always hides beneath the sofa when I have visitors. So that means on top there is the sofa, and at the bottom there is going to be the cat. Okay, beta.
Okay,
so
sir.
these are the words underneath and beneath. Okay, can we complete over and above also, if you agree?
Okay,
Everyone?
sir.
All right. So
Yes,
over
sir.
is there. Over is used to indicate a position vertically above. Okay, it's just opposite of which word?
So below.
Under. Okay, like we had under, so it's just
Under.
going to be opposite of that. Okay, if you are talking about over is going to be just opposite of under, guys. Under is going to mean we're referring to two things. One thing is covering another. Okay, one thing on top at something at the bottom, and the top thing is covering the bottom thing. Then we use the word under. It's just going to be the opposite. If you're referring from the down position to the upper position, then we use the word over. So over is used to indicate a position vertically above something or partly, somebody or partly or completely covering the surface of something. Then we use the word over. Or we can say there is hardly any gap, small gap is there. Like she hung the calendar over the fireplace. So we can feel there is the fireplace at the bottom, and leaving some gap, there was the calendar. There were books all over the table. So we can say on top of the surface, the surface of the table was covered by the books. So on top there were the books. They held a large umbrella over her. So that means there was a person and the umbrella was covering the person. There was a lamp over the table. Okay, it was hanging over the table. So we can see there was a lamp on top, and at the bottom there was the table. So over is basically used when there is a small gap between two things. Okay, and above is going to be when there is a large gap between two things. Above is used to indicate a position higher than something, and larger areas and large gap is going to be talked about. Like there were clouds above us. So we can feel if you talk about a tree. Okay, so tree is going to be there will be slight gap between you and tree. But if you refer to clouds, so there will be huge gap. The water came above our knees. So again we are referring to here we are referring to the position. Okay, it's just opposite of the word below. The pilot was flying above the clouds. So at the bottom there were the clouds. On the top there was the pilot. The birds were flying high above the trees. So at the bottom there were trees, and with huge gap between two things, there were the. So if you see this particular picture, you can find the difference between over and above. So over is going to be there is slight gap, hardly any gap between two things, and above is going to be when there is a huge gap between two things. All right, beta. So we can say there are clouds above me,
Yes,
or we can say there is a tree over me. All right, so that's the difference. We can see this picture, the ball went over the wall and then under the table. So that means it covered this wall partially or completely and then went under the table. Okay, on top there was a table, at the bottom there was the ball. We also say above the line. Okay, that means leaving some space, and on top we are talking about. Below the line, leaving some space at the bottom. Above the cloud will be this, below the cloud will be this. Below the boat, we can say above the boat, below the window, above the window, and so on. So we'll keep the class till here, guys. Now those who have a doubt, they can stay back and ask a doubt. Otherwise, we can end the meeting.
Okay, sir. Thank